Good morning. This is Dee Jon Douglass at D&D Financial Services. And just to follow up on the question that I asked yesterday, what's the tax form that I see most filled out incorrectly or most misused? And congratulations to Caroline Campsey because she correctly guessed it's the W-4 form. This is typically the form you see filled out when you start to work somewhere. And unfortunately, a lot of HR directors and people don't totally understand how this form works or how to instruct you how to fill it out. And the IRS, they just give you 4 really complicated pages on how to fill it out. So it's pretty common that this is not done correctly. You're only trying to get this part filled out, and it's actually pretty simple. And if you need any help with it, I can help you with it. But it goes like this. You start off with just the basic information. There's really about 4 things you need on here. It's your name, address, social security number, and then how many allowances you're going to claim. And so the misconception is you want to put a bunch of allowances on here so that you withhold a lot of money, and that's totally incorrect. The more you put on here, the less withholding is. And what withholding is your employer, and again, this is for employees and employers. This is not for contract people. Contract people fill out a W-9 form. You get a 1099 at the end of the year. Employees fill out a W-4. You get a W-2 at the end of the year. So the more allowances you put on here, the less they're going to withhold and send to the IRS with each of your paychecks. And so last year in 2018, the tax law changes and the withholding tables changes. So you started getting a little bit more on each paycheck, and that caused you probably at the end of the year to have to pay some to the IRS. And so if you've already filed your taxes this year, it's time to take a relook at the W-4. And you can fill this out anytime. This is not just a one-time thing that you do when you start to work somewhere. You can go to your HR director, HR department right now and get a W-4 form, or you can print this off of the internet and refill this out and submit it to change what your withholding is on each paycheck, so at the end of the year, you're not left with a big payable or a big refund. Your ideal situation on the tax return is a 0. You don't want to have to pay anything in, and you don't want to get a big refund because that just means you loan the government money throughout the whole year. So the form is real simple. There's a lot of instruction in the back and a little document here to help you figure out how many withholding allowances you want to claim. But just remember, the more allowances you put on here, the less your employer is going to withhold and send to the IRS for you throughout the year. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this. Another really big thing that I see a lot, and I could talk for an hour about this because there's so many errors and things that I see on this, but the other big thing that I see is students or people who make low income, just part-time working or whatever. And so if you make less than $15,000 a year, then you may want to make sure you put exempt on here, because the situation is if you make less than $15,000, you don't have to file a tax return. But if you've put anything on here and your employer withholds from you, then you have to file a tax return just to get your money back. So if you're a student or you're a parent of a student and they're working part-time to help pay their way through college, make sure you instruct them, hey, when you fill out your W-4, put exempt on here, and then you don't have to fill out a tax return and pay me $150 at the end of the year to file that return for you just to get your $50 back. So just make sure that's a big deal and a big change. A lot of people don't realize, and again, most unused form correctly that I see, and the thing that will change your withholding a lot. And if you can't figure this out, give me a holler. I'll be happy to help you. We can look at your paycheck and see how much they're withholding divided by your gross earnings, and that can tell you exactly what your percentage needs to be, because your effective tax rate on your tax return will show us what you need to be withholding so that you don't get in this situation at the end of the year. Again, give me a call, Dee Jon Douglass, 806-231-2331. D&D Financial Services. Be happy to help you out. Have a great day.